This podcast is brought to you by iPlayHockey.ca. iPlay is the leading hockey insurance provider to coaches, camp instructors, spring and summer hockey leagues, and tournaments across Canada. If you need insurance for hockey, iPlay has you covered. iPlay also provides hockey players and coaches with a wide range of free tools, drills, and skills in their drill vault to enhance on-ice performance, and they provide crucial off-ice knowledge as well. So if you need insurance for a hockey team, league, or camp, or if you just want to teach your kids some new drills, head on over to iPlayHockey.ca and check out their new website. Canada wins. It was a close one, 3-2 over Finland. We're going to talk about it. Chad Melbourne for this episode 271 of the Boys in the Booth podcast, joined by one of our favorite recurring guests, John Kyriacou. How you doing, John, to kick things off?
I still got my hair. It's still not completely gray, so overall can't complain. But yeah, another big sweat. That was had us literally till the last second, just hoping, and like I said, sweating. So it was a tough one, but excited for a gold medal game on Sunday.
Absolutely. And as we were just talking about before we got going here, 6 a.m. is when the bars in Toronto will be open serving alcohol. So make sure you head to a bar and get some get an Irish coffee to watch the game or something.
We'll be knocking on the door at 5:45.
Yeah, that's the plan. So, okay, I mentioned it off the top. 3-2 Canada against Finland in the semifinal. What a nail biter following that Czechia game. I don't know if my heart can take it. You mentioned your hair. You've still got it. It's either going to be gray after Sunday or all gone. So we've just been in one here recently. Yeah. Let's get into the game here. I want to kick it off. Number one, no Sid in the lineup today. That's a big deal. And it's an even bigger deal because in the Olympics, you need to have someone wearing the C. That guy was Connor McDavid today. Also, Sam Bennett draws back into the lineup. What did you think of all of the lineup changes going into this game and how it turned out?
Yeah, I thought, you know what? McDavid didn't score, but I thought he had a really good game. He carried the puck. He was showing his speed. He looked determined out there. It's clear that, he took a lot of meaning in being given that C, even if it's just for one game. So I really liked what he brought. In terms of the rest of the lines, it's clear, I would say, for maybe the second game in a row, which is something that needs to be addressed going into Sunday, that there's a bit of a lack of a threat from some of the other lines in my mind, notwithstanding Reinhart tipping one to score the first goal today. But that first line is really, really driving things, celebrating McDavid, and then when McKinnon gets up there as well, that line is so electric. They're making things happen. They're creating chances every time they're out there, which is fantastic. But the other lines really look like they're struggling at times to generate offense. I looked to the line where Crosby is missing today, and that line I thought has been pretty good with Marner and Stone for the bulk of the tournament. But yeah, they had a couple of chances, but overall I didn't think they were generating a ton offensively. I thought they were quite reliable defensively, adding Nick Suzuki in there. Stone and Marner obviously are out there on penalty kills. So they're reliable in that sense, but I didn't really feel that they were a huge threat to generate offense.
Agreed.
Same with the other lines as well. Like I thought, I liked the idea of putting Horvat and Jarvis initially with McKinnon in the middle to try and generate a little more speed there. Especially, it seems that McKinnon is not 100%.
Yeah,
he's not generating the same speed and power as he normally does. So I liked that idea, but that line as well for most of the game until McKinnon went up with the other two didn't seem to be generating a ton. And then, Reinhart, Marchand, Bennett, I thought they were fine. Got a lot of ice time, kind of played as a bit of a third line out there. Had some looks, but same thing. I didn't really look at them at most points of the game as a real threat to score. So a lot is happening with that first line. Going into Sunday, they're going to have to try and find, I think, a little bit more offensive threat from some of the other lines. But Um, you know what? It's great players on every line. They've got a lot of depth, so I'm confident, even though I haven't seen it necessarily in the Czech game. Um, notwithstanding again that Suzuki and Marner both scored in that game, but between that game and this game, I think there's a little bit more for the other lines to give. I will say another shout out here. Talking about that first line, I thought Celebrini was fantastic again today.
Oh,
Again,
of
didn't
course.
score. First game of the tournament, he didn't score, but he had like 8 shots, I think, on net. Had a ton of great looks, a couple passes that were in his skates, but man, 19 years old, I'm just like every game I'm like, how is this kid already the second best player on this team?
I know, and we've talked about it, and I've got his stats up here. 8 shots on goal, just the 1 assist, 25 minutes on the ice. That can't be right. 25 minutes. Like, he was
Tonight.
all over the ice. I mean, that's what it says here on the Olympic site. I thought I heard 23 from
Yeah.
somewhere else earlier, but still, regardless, a ton of ice time for him.
Yeah.
You're right. He's the second best player on the team. It's insane.
Yeah, I mean, I think like if you were to assuming that Canada wins gold for a moment, and we can talk a little bit about what's to come on Sunday, but assuming they were to win gold, I think that MVPs of the tournament are McDavid, Celebrini, 1-2.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. And okay, going back to lines there, because
Yeah.
we kind of have talked about it.
Yeah.
Tom Wilson started on the top line with
Yep.
those two, 97 and 17. I thought they had a great start. Wilson was running around and throwing good hits. He got blown up by Risto at one point, actually. I don't know if you saw that on the near side about center ice. So I thought that was good. He was bringing the energy. About 4 minutes left in the first period. That's when Coop first went nuclear, bringing that line together, adding Nate McKinnon up on that top line. And it stuck the rest of the game. They were so good. And you mentioned it too. The Wilson, Bennett, Marchand line became a solidified option for the rest of the game, especially in the third period. They were out there, it felt like, all the time. And to me, like, I was mentioning it last episode when we were talking about the Czech game, but man, Coop just has his finger on the pulse. Like, he's just a guy who is able to read how guys are playing and is able to kind of tinker here and there and just ride the hot hand. You have to remember, us being a couple of Leaf fans here, like thinking about some coaching decisions that have been made in the past in Toronto, where it's like, okay, we're just going to ride the same line and hopefully something good happens. Well, that's not what Coop does. He finds out who's going and he rewards them. And a guy like Sam Reinhart, right, hasn't exactly got it going this tournament. I think he played the fewest minutes on the team, or at least close to the bottom today.
Yeah.
But he gets the goal. He gets out there on the power play. Like, Coop rewards him for that, even if he's not playing him a ton 5-on-5. So I thought the line management today, particularly with the forwards, was really impressive from John Cooper. And I hate to do it, but I feel like I'm pumping his tires every single game because he's impressing me a lot.
Yeah, I mean, he picks his spots well. He knows what makes guys tick. He's not afraid to make adjustments on the fly. All the things you look for in a good coach. And I agree. Like he made some key adjustments today, as he has in every game that worked. But I think there's also more to come. Like, the toughest game of the tournament is going to be the next one, obviously.
Yeah.
And the last 2 games, notwithstanding some good starts from certain players, certain lines, there hasn't been that urgency that they finish games with to start. Like it felt like for a little bit in that last game against the Czechs that they're skating in quicksand a little bit, playing a bit of an uphill battle. And then, of course, they push and they tie it up late. They win it in overtime. It seemed like there was a bit of a change in momentum as the game went on there, which was great. And similar today, like the first half of that game felt uncomfortable. And Finland really, really effectively, I think, pushed Canada out. They weren't able to get in the slot a lot. There was a lot of block shots. There was a lot of sticks in lanes. There wasn't a lot of high opportunity looks from the house. I thought
just no room out there.
No, I thought Saros was seeing the puck well, but when they started to do that, you get the tip from Reinhart, you get the shot through from Theodore. Of course, you end up getting the winner from McKinnon as well. But those first 2 especially are because you have that traffic in front. And part of that as well is because of the urgency that they're playing with in that moment, and being able to work pucks around, cycle the puck, get it up to the D, and be able to get to the net, which I think they were having a bit of trouble doing through the first two periods of the game.
100%.
And going into a game where the U.S. is their strength is going to be their D, they're probably going to have a similar game plan: box everybody out, keep them to the outside, try and make them make plays off the rush and generate opportunities off the rush rather than creating traffic and being able to score a bit of a garbage goal. You got to find a way to counteract that. They've got the forwards for it. They've got the deepest forward group in the tournament. It's just about doing it from the start rather than waiting until there's 10 minutes left in the second period.
BetterHelp is the paid partner of this video. The new year is a blank space for you to write a new story. BetterHelp makes it more convenient to get you started. BetterHelp is fully online, making therapy more comfortable and convenient. They carefully make sure therapists on the platform are well qualified, and their customer support team is there to help you if you have any questions. With over 7,000 reviews and a 4.5 rating on Trustpilot, BetterHelp is a platform you can trust. Your next chapter starts today. Get 10% off your first month of BetterHelp online therapy at betterhelp.com/boysinthebooth in paid partnership with BetterHelp.
Yeah, and some of that has to be like, some credit has to be given to the Finns there, because I feel like for the first half of the game, they were just so tenacious. They were sticking to the game plan, doing exactly what they have to do to beat a team like Canada, who frankly outmatches them in every category except maybe goaltending, because they have UC Saros. But yeah, they were just on every loose puck. They were winning battles. And then I heard someone say today, you know, the worst thing the Finns did today was score their second goal too early, because at that point they were just sort of on their heels, and it didn't happen immediately, but you can't just lock it down for, 35 minutes. And it seems like that's what they tried to do when they had the 2-goal lead. By the way, they get the 2-goal lead. Let's talk about the second goal to make it 2-0, because I think that was the goal that kind of scared everybody in Canada as a nation collectively. It's a clear that happens that Nate McKinnon tries to keep in the zone with his hand when they're on the power play. It slows it up just enough for Erik Haula to pick it up, go in on a breakaway and score. Makes it 2-0 for the Finns. There's a collective groan from Team Canada fans, including myself. However, I will say I went straight into the Bet365 app and I put $5 on Canada to come back. And I got to say, they were only plus 130 at that time, down 2-0 in the game, which is crazy to me because they came in as such favorites, right? But yeah, so like, what do you think of that goal? How are you feeling at that moment when Canada goes down 2-0?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough, shorthanded goal to go up 2-0. I wasn't feeling good at all. I was panicking, especially seeing how that game was playing out and all the things I just said about not being able to really get into the slot and create traffic in front. 2 goals felt like a very large lead, not insurmountable, especially not for this team, but it's a challenge. And that was going back to the last game. I thought if the Czechs went up by 2 at any point, the game was probably over, just based on how it was going. And I felt that, there was enough time for Canada to come back, but nonetheless was very worrisome. But yeah, as you said, like there was a lot of time for them to come back. I felt confident. If the key was just not giving up another. And all this to say, I actually liked how Canada's D locked it down for the second half of that game. I thought there was guys who, haven't got as much of the spotlight defensively, who I thought had really solid games. Obviously, Cale Makar, but I've really liked Devin Tays' game. I thought he's been really solid every single game. I know he's just kind of looked at as Cale Makar's partner, but I think he's made some key defensive plays. I think he moves the puck well. I think he sees the ice well, and I thought he did that today. And I also really liked Travis Sanheim's game today.
Yes. Glad you mentioned him. I thought the same thing.
Yeah, I thought he was really steady. I thought he jumped up in the play at the right time. He made some offensive plays. Was really good on both sides of the puck. And so he was somebody I kind of looked at as well and said that's a guy who's kind of been the 7th, 8th defenseman on this team at times, who is obviously a very, very capable high-end NHL player, and shows the depth that they got on this D. They might not have the, Werenski, Hughes, Slavin, Faber, American defense that everybody's talking about. But these are really, really solid players, and anybody is capable of stepping up at the right time. And I thought he was somebody who did that today.
Agreed. And it was kind of a game that lended itself to offense from the back end. So at times I was thinking to myself, be nice to have a guy like Evan Bouchard out there clapping it from the point. Would, be nice to have, Matthew Schaefer out there, dynamic skater to replace Morrissey. Because, and what I mean by that is that it was a game where the Finns, especially in the second half when Canada was trying to tie it up, kind of just collapsed in their zone. And like we've talked about already, like you weren't really getting into the house. You weren't able to get into the slot. So where does that leave in terms of space in the offensive zone? Guys right at the top. So I felt like there were a lot of chances tonight where it was just the D-men kind of floating it on net, hoping for a tip rather than, trying to pick a corner. So
yeah, they seem to use their D a lot more, or rely on their point a lot more than they have in other games, for the exact reasons you said, like unavailability of space down low. So you're moving the puck up high. And I thought the D responded. I think, if probably regardless of what the tournament outcome is, but especially if Canada doesn't win the gold medal, there's going to be a lot of talk about, who else could have been on this team. And I think a large part of that would probably be surrounding a little bit more dynamicism or offense from the point. And the guys you highlighted, like people will say, should Evan Bouchard have been there? People, perhaps such as myself, would probably point and said to Matthew Schaefer, who will certainly be there in 4 years. But I think that's going to be a key driver, because they've got, they rely heavily on Cale Makar, especially with Josh Morrissey being out. But again, I thought other guys stepped up today, and we'll see what happens on Sunday. Obviously, Morrissey coming back would be a huge help. But if he's not, then it's going to have to be a collective effort. We'll see if a guy like Sanheim can do it again. Can Thomas Harley step up and provide a little more offense from the point? I know he's got a goal in the tournament. Can Kyriacou continue to be steady? Does he have anything else to give? So time will tell, but it goes without saying a Morrissey back would be nice.
Yes, 100%, especially against the Americans, who, like you've mentioned, have, I think, far and away the best D-core, at least in terms of talent and dynamic players and what have you. So yeah, it'd be nice to get maybe your second most dynamic, talented offensive defenseman back into the lineup for that game. That would be great. Let's go back to the first period. I want to talk about the 1-0 goal from Finland. I want to talk specifically about how that happened. It's our least favorite guy on the team, Sam Bennett, who crashes into UC Saros. I think he gets rode in by the defender. It's up for debate, but he's got a history, so the finger automatically points at him, and that makes sense. So as soon as he did that, personally, I was like, you idiot. Like, he's back in the game for 5 minutes, and he can't even do 5 minutes without doing something stupid. So I was very annoyed. And then, of course, 10 seconds later, when they drop the puck, it's snapped back to Rantanen, who rips it past Binnington, glove side. So, yeah, I was very, very upset with Sam Bennett, despite the fact that it might have been a strategic play if he did do it on purpose to take out Saros, who really is probably the only guy in this game who could win it for the Finns single-handedly if given the chance. So how did you feel about the whole Bennett play and how it ended up in the net to make it 1-0?
Your goalie is coming through.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. Can you tell you're a goalie?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, of course you're upset. I don't know. I feel like I'm a little bit different on this. Like, obviously it
Well, you loved it.
Kind of, yeah. Like, I know it results in a penalty, which isn't great, and on top of that results in the first goal of the game, which is especially not great. But single game elimination, you've got a solid goalie on the other side. Call me old school. I don't mind I don't mind trying to run the goalie a little bit. I know being on, Panthers Leafs the last few years, it's not nice when you're on the receiving end, but when he's on your team, the guy you're rooting for, I don't know. I kind of didn't mind him, at least in the moment before, the aftermath, the penalty, the goal, all of that. I didn't mind kind of seeing him go hard to the net. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm a dinosaur. You can call me out on that. I wouldn't do it to
I
you.
don't think
I
so.
wouldn't do it to you.
This podcast is sponsored by SeatGeek, the absolute best ticket app out there. SeatGeek takes the confusion out of buying tickets, making it quick and easy to get the best deals to tickets at your favorite sporting event. SeatGeek does this awesome thing where they score each ticket out of 10 based on its value, so you know whether you're getting a good or a bad deal. Last time I got tickets to see the Devils play, I first saw red tickets. I waited it out, monitored the price in-app, and once I saw green, I pulled the trigger. SeatGeek makes it that easy. And here's the best part. SeatGeek has completely hooked us up. Boys in the Booth listeners get $20 off their first purchase on SeatGeek with the promo code BOYSINTHEBOOTH in all caps. Click the link in our description to download the app, and remember to get your discounted tickets using the code BOYSINTHEBOOTH in all caps. Get great seats for a fraction of the cost with SeatGeek.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think you're a dinosaur for feeling like that. Actually, I think you're in the majority of Team Canada fans. It's just me as a Leaf fan. I know you are too, but me as a goalie and a Leaf fan, and
Well,
seeing Stolars get taken out last year, like
let me ask, if he goes out in the first 5 minutes of the game on Sunday and does that to Hellebuck, what's your reaction going to be?
It depends if they score on the ensuing power play. I think that's the answer.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean that's fair, and you don't want to take penalties against that team. Like, as much as the USSD is good, so too is their offense. But I don't know. Like, first couple minutes of a game, like rattle the cage on the other side, especially of a guy who's not got the reputation of being Captain Clutch and Connor Hellebuck.
Yeah. I hear you.
I'm not going to tell him to go do it, but if he does it on his own volition, I'm not going to say, hey, like, you're an idiot.
Yeah, I hear you. And
unless it results in a power play and the U.S. scores and the game's 1-0, then
exactly.
Yeah.
I think Sam Bennett was probably shocked he got called for it, because he's never got called for that in his entire life.
Yeah, you're not going to get away with that in AAHF hockey. But
yeah, you're wearing a maple leaf on your chest, not a panther.
I mean, hey, maybe there's a way to do it a little more smart. Like, I'll grant you that. Maybe there's a way where, like, you can kind of make it look like you get pushed, or whatever the case is. Like, there's ways of, as a former forward, I guess a current forward if you're playing on our men's
lug team.
Yeah, no comment. There's ways of rattling a cage or running a goalie that doesn't necessarily mean you do it the way that Sam Bennett did today. Like, you don't have to plow right through him. It could just be, hey, you're in front of the net and the shot comes through and you happen to fall back on the guy, or defenseman pushes you in front of the net and maybe you go down a little bit easier than you otherwise would and you land on top of the guy. There's ways of going about it that maybe he could do the next game. But all that to say, like, I think it goes back to the point I'm making earlier. Like, they need to get traffic in front of them and earlier than they've been doing it in the last couple of games.
Yes, agreed. And final point on the Bennett play, I do think he was sort of rode in by his teammate Nico Mikkola. However, it's hard to give a guy like that the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
And that's why he's called.
Yeah. He's not getting any favors from the refs.
Yeah. Okay, looking through my notes here, couple things. Sam Reinhart wanted to mention, welcome to the Olympics. Have not noticed him at all until he scores that tip goal. But I wanted to shout out Cale Makar about 2 seconds before he takes that shot, throwing it on net, keeps it in at the line. Great play from him to stretch out and keep it in. Also, as we were talking about lines earlier, I feel like I should bring this one up. I was thinking about it, and I'm not sure where I land. So tell me what you think. We were talking about how this team sort of turned into a one-line team at times. What do you think about separating 97 and 17? I don't know how I feel about
Yeah, I think I mean, if I were to do anything, it would probably be what Cooper did today, which is to try and move Nate back down and try and create a little bit more offense around him. Maybe Horvat and Jarvis aren't the guys. Maybe you try something else. Maybe Sid comes back next game and you put him back with Stone and Marner. Who knows? I just think Celebrini and McDavid have too much chemistry right now. Like
It's electric.
almost every shift they're on the ice, they're making something happen. And like Celebrini's hockey sense is off the charts. His effort's off the charts. He goes to get pucks. He
what a
wins
motor.
puck battles. He keeps plays alive. And that obviously benefits McDavid, but so too on the rush. Like McDavid, how many times have we seen him today skate the puck in over the blue line, make a little like backhand pass and find Celebrini somewhere in the slot to get a shot off? Obviously didn't result in a goal today, but it has in a lot of the other games. So I think you ride with those two. I wouldn't want to make any any change at this point.
Yeah, I mean, they've been your two best players all tournament, so the thought process is, okay, can they each drive their own line, but then you don't want to take away from your strength to add somewhere else. So yeah, it's a difficult decision. I think you're probably right. You keep them together and try to create offense elsewhere.
What would you do?
Yeah, I mean, probably the same. I do like when they go nuclear. I like the fact that they started with Wilson on the top line to start the game. I thought that really set the tone in terms of energy. But yeah, I mean, when you're in a spot and you need a goal, you're probably just going to put those three out anyways. So what's the difference?
Well, here's a hypothetical I'll ask you. Like next game, US is probably, I imagine they're probably thinking we put the Kachucks and Eichel up against Celebrini, McDavid, and whoever's on that right side.
Yeah.
Are you looking to counter that? Do you try and put, Wilson and I heard one suggestion of like Wilson and Bennett on McDavid's wings to try and counter that? Do you try and move Nate or Celebrini or both to their own lines?
Yeah, you could. I mean, Team USA
like simply. I'll throw this out there as well because a lot of people rave about the Kachucks and rightfully so. They're great players against. But if we're going to sit here and make a ranking of who are the top 50 players in the league, on my list, both McDavid and Celebrini are ahead of those two. So,
yeah,
be better than them. Like your better players, be better.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if that's the plan and those two guys are going to match up against McDavid, first of all, I think McDavid's going to cook them both in speed. Matt Tkachuk is one of the slowest players in the league.
Yeah.
I would think they might go Matthews and try to create a shutdown line because he's a bit more defensively responsible, I think, than those two. Enough. But I don't exactly know what their plan of attack is. If it's the Tkachuk brothers, I would like Coop to start with Wilson, with Celebrini and McDavid.
Yeah.
Try to keep that chemistry going, have Wilson out there as sort of a tone setter, a babysitter if you need, and just kind of, be able to be there to be the one to stand up to the Tkachuks. That's kind of what I think.
I'm with you. I think kind of what I'm getting at too is like, be a little arrogant. Like there shouldn't be this whole like fear of who are the US going to put out against us, or the Tkachuks are so scary. Like they're so hard to play against. Like the best players are the best players. And if you are the best player, then go be the best player. Connor McDavid should be the best player on the ice for either team the next game because he's the best player in the world.
He will be. And from what I've seen this tournament, so will Macklin Celebrini.
Yep.
Which is crazy to say.
Macklin Celebrini for me, if I was to like, this is an aside, but just like talking about him his season with the Sharks and with Team Canada now, like he's a top 10 player in the league, maybe even higher.
Yeah. Like he's 19 and he looks like prime McDavid, which is crazy to say. Like the way that he
doesn't have the speed of McDavid, but he's like, he's just everywhere. Like he's like, he's in the slot getting shots off. He's making passes, but at the same time, he's on the wall winning puck battles. He's hitting guys. Like he's just like,
he's everywhere.
He's maybe not the same like down low player as Sid, but he's almost like that type of player where he's just like, he's so strong on his skates and he does a little bit of everything.
Well, let me say this. I think I could count on one hand the amount of players that I would trade 1-for-1 for Macklin Celebrini.
Yeah, that's probably how it should be. If I'm if I'm saying he's at least like a top 10 player, probably higher, then yeah, like I don't know if I were to think off the top of my head, it's like probably McDavid, McKinnon, McCarr, Draisaitl, Kucherov. Could be it.
Given their career trajectories right now, though, and where Kucherov is, I'd probably prefer Celebrini, right? Because like we're talking about what NHL teams would do, right? Like, I know Kucherov is sick, but he's also in his 30s.
Yeah.
Versus a 19-year-old who's the best player at the Olympics right now. Like, it's insane. It's insane what he's doing. Okay, Binnington talk. What'd you think of him today? Personally, I thought this was a really difficult game for Binnington to get into because he wasn't having a ton of work to do, but anytime he had something to do, it was a grade A opportunity. And I felt that he really battled. And yes, the two go in and you go down 2-0, but as the game sort of settled in and as it became later and later into the third period, he just has a calmness about him. Like even when he's playing the puck, when he's making decisions, like even at the very last second of the game, trying to flip it out of his glove to keep the clock going. Like he just gives me so much confidence, which we're going to talk about it every single episode, talking about the Olympics, but it's insane that he's such an average goalie in the NHL, actually far below average this season, one of the worst in the league statistically, but can just turn it on with the flip of a switch and has done that in the Olympics. I thought it was a tough game for him to get into, but I thought he did really well today. What'd you think?
We interrupt this podcast to tell you about one of our favorite partners, Sign Up Expert. If you're a sports bettor, whether brand new, casual, or hardcore, listen very carefully because this ad is for you. Guys, line shopping for the best odds matters, and that's why any profitable sports bettor needs to be using multiple sports books to maximize their profits. Thankfully, there has never been a better time to get signed up, and we are here to connect you with the best promotions industry-wide. When you use our link at signupexpert.com/boysinthebooth, you can get access to all of the top sportsbooks in your region, along with a review of each platform and its unique benefits. Most importantly, all of these sportsbooks have valuable sign-up offers for new users. And when you register through our link, you will automatically receive the top offer at each one, allowing you to start line shopping with an enhanced bankroll. Guys, it's simple. When you use multiple sportsbooks, you ensure that you can always access the best available odds, which is key to successful and profitable sports betting. So, if you want to take advantage of these incredible benefits and support our brand at the same time, please consider signing up for your next sportsbook through our link in the description below, signupexpert.com/boysinthebooth. If you're planning on signing up for a new sportsbook anyways, you might as well use our link and support the boys. So, one more time, that's signupexpert.com/boysinthebooth.
Yeah, like nothing bad to say for me, which is similar to the last game. First goal from Randon is off the draw on the power play. What can you do? Second goal is a breakaway from Holla. What can you do? But he stepped up, made some key saves when he had to. Otherwise, yeah, like I felt calm at no point. You're sitting there hoping as a fan, like, I hope Finland doesn't score a third, but I didn't really, in hindsight, feel like they were that close to doing so. And a lot of that is because you just have confidence that Binnington's going to step up and show up when he needs to, and that's what he continues to do. That's why Cooper has so much faith in him. So
yeah, he made a big save on Aho when it was 2-2 in the third period, point blank in the slot, just out of his crease, stares him down, makes a calm save. Like
even at the end there, like, was it Aho again? I think it was Aho coming down the right side, like had a lot of space, and Binnington just kind of took the shooting angle away, as you said, like, had the awareness to try and drain the clock. Didn't work. It's a quick whistle, but yeah, like, even though I had all that space, like, didn't really result in that grade A of an opportunity.
Yeah, it was a backhandy kind of flub. I think he wanted that back. Like, if that's Mitch Marner, it's top shelf far side on a backhand, but
yeah.
But yeah, I thought he was great tonight. This morning, I'm going to do that for the rest of the Olympics.
Tonight in Italy.
Yeah, tonight in Italy, should add that caveat. But I also thought Saros was really good too, especially like I know he ends up losing and he lets in 3, but like the McKinnon goal just barely squeaks in. He was right there, and that shift they were putting everything on net. He made maybe 5-6 saves in that one possession alone, and he made a huge save on Mitch Marner too to keep it tied at 2. When I don't know if you remember the play, Marner had just got on the ice after prolonged zone pressure for Team Canada. Marner picks it up, he makes a quick move and puts it on net, and Saros, great save there. So I thought he was great today too.
Yeah, that was a real good opportunity, but agree, like he made some huge saves. I thought his lateral movement was really good. This D obviously did a good job of pushing out guys in front of him and trying to clear traffic. But I thought he saw the puck well. Like really, there was times where I was like, I don't know if they're going to beat this guy. He was really solid tonight. And yeah, like there was a handful of guys on that team that were good. I thought first and foremost, Finland, as they do in almost every tournament, just played a really good team game. There wasn't anyone out there that I thought was dominant for them. Like on the back end, Riisalainen I thought was really solid. Ikola was really solid. Obviously, Rannon, does what he does and he gets a goal. Ho had some looks, some opportunity. They're a solid, deep team. And they pushed as much as they could tonight, and a large part of that was their goaltending. Like especially second half of that game, Canada was getting a ton of shots off.
They had the puck the entire time.
Yeah, but Saros really, he looked calm. He wasn't flailing all over the place. Canada's moving the puck side to side up to the point in the offensive zone, but he kept it pretty sound, I think.
Yeah, made some big saves and took so many off the mask today. Like maybe 4 or 5 off the mask. Yeah. Like poor guy was just getting shelled.
Yeah, that's going to be a trip to the dark room, I'm sure.
Yeah, surprised the concussion spotter didn't take him out. But okay, so Saros, and let's blend this into the last goal, because the final goal for McKinnon to make it 3-2, it comes on the power play. Well, how is that power play drawn? Number one, it's McKinnon who cuts across the front of the net and chips it up, and Saros makes a great blocker save. Okay, puck goes into the corner, and McKinnon's trying to fish it out and gets high-sticked right in the mouth.
Yeah,
I'm sure you saw the tweet from Teemu Selanne after the game saying it's hard enough to beat Team Canada, let alone the refs. What'd you think of that high stick and the tweet from Teemu?
That's 2 games in a row where people with connections to the opposing team are trying to make the refereeing out to be some story, but like, I don't know, like Czech had 6 guys on the ice, as is well documented, for their third goal. This is like Mikola's stick hits him in the face. Like, it's not a
clearly on the screen.
Does it suck that it comes with 2.5 minutes to go? Yeah, of course. If this was roles reversed, I'd be annoyed at that as well. But like, high sticking is one of those calls that's like it either is or it isn't.
Yeah.
And that, some calls like a slash or a trip or a hook, you have a little discretion to let go. But like the stick comes up and hits McKinnon in the face. So what are you going to do? Like, I don't know. What does Teemu Selanne think was the right outcome here?
I think Teemu was offended by the head snap back, as you can see on the screen right now from McKinnon.
I don't disagree with that. I do think there was a big head snap back there. But,
bit of a late call too. Didn't happen until he snapped his head back. So
yeah, listen, I can get on board with that. I don't love the head snap backs, which I will say every NHL player does. They all do it now. They all try and sell high sticking. But in terms of like, if we're going to sit here and say, should that call have been made? He regardless of the snapback, the stick hit him in the face. It's a high stick.
Yeah, it did. Plain and simple.
Maybe the ref doesn't call it if McKinnon doesn't have the reaction. I can agree with that. But like, what is in that case? Then we're saying it's a missed call because the stick did hit him in the face.
Yeah, and it clearly did, as we saw on the screen there.
Yeah.
Okay, and then McKinnon is the one who draws the penalty and was creating havoc in the offensive zone in the first place. Draws the penalty and poetically scores the goal to put Canada up with about 30 seconds left in the game. What an incredible moment. Like I was fist pumping. Like how did you feel in that moment?
Really good, and then really nervous when they started reviewing it for offside, because that was about as close as you could possibly have.
Yeah, I've got it here too. I'll put it on the screen for you.
Yeah, about as close as you can possibly have for an offside. Literally, like the bottom of Celebrini skate blade is touching the blue line as the puck crosses the line. So that was like, it was. I fist pumped in my office where I was watching the game, but then 20 seconds later, I'm sitting there thinking, "Oh my God, it's going to come back." I thought it was going to come back. It was it was so close. So luckily it didn't. McKinnon, obviously, like, great hardworking, as you can always expect from him. He's such a hardworking last 3 minutes there. Gets the goal, as I think Chris Cuthbert said on the broadcast, or Johnson, I can't remember who said it. That is almost great that it came at the end of the power play, because there's only 34 seconds to go in the game to defend. But for a guy who seems to be dealing with something, isn't 100%, came up clutch when he needed to.
Yeah, for sure. And the offside challenge, like, okay, let's briefly talk about this, because number one, the entry was about a minute and a half almost before the goal was scored, right? So we know there's no limit on that, but it just felt like a total last-ditch effort, desperate attempt, grasping at straws to see if the goal can get called back.
Yeah.
And it's so close, and they must have known that on the monitor too. Like, listen, I'm not blaming them for trying. I think in the same situation, roles reversed, your team Canada, you want them to try too, and try to reverse the call. But personally, I just thought it was so against the spirit of the game, like the spirit of the rule. Like, what are we doing here? I understand that you're supposed to do it, but like, we're talking millimeters. Like, it was just so pointless to me.
I think your problem is more just with offside review in general then.
Yes.
I would have done the exact same thing if I was Finland's bench.
Of course, you have to.
Yeah, and I think they were right to do it. I kept going back and forth on the replay. At some points I thought it was offside, at other points I didn't.
I thought it was.
I think you make that challenge all day. I don't blame them for doing that. I don't love offside challenges generally, so I'm not going to sit here and complain if you were to say, let's just not ever do those and get rid of them completely.
I just think we need a time limit or something, like a minute and a half almost after that they entered the zone, they scored.
I mean, again, like the issue is probably with the offside review generally, but like this was not. I think when this rule was first introduced several years ago now in the NHL, like, it was not intended to cover situations like this where it's potentially a millimeter offside.
Yeah, it was Matt Duchene 12 feet offside.
Exactly. It was to rectify those types of issues, and they opened up a can of worms where now, and this is like an aside, if it's Canada or if it's team in the NHL or if it's whatever team I don't care about, you've opened a can of worms where now everything where it could be literally a fingernail offside is reviewable and subject to a goal being called back. When you go back 10 years ago, you score with 30 seconds to go to take a 3-2 lead in a game. That's a huge moment, but now it's a huge moment that you have to wait 5 minutes on.
Yeah, and like, it can't be understated how close this one was. So I'm not saying this particular challenge, it just frustrated me that this is what offside challenges have come to, is all. So, okay, wrapping up the game now, Canada goes up 3-2. We talked about Aho kind of dropping his shoulder with a couple seconds left, and he comes in on the backhand, and Bennington comes up big and makes the save. There's 1.3 seconds on the clock. I told you I was very frustrated with Sam Bennett at the start of the game. Who does Coop send out there to snap back the draw? It's Sam Bennett. He does it. No shot on goal for the Finns in the last 1.3 seconds that were added back to the clock after Binnington covered it. And like, just another sort of poetic sequence for me that Bennett is the guy who's trusted to go out there and win the faceoff.
Yeah, I mean, a huge play and kind of in contrast to the last game. Even though they beat the Czechs, I thought they really, really struggled on the draw, especially at key times. Even
they did tonight too.
Yeah, but I think especially it was highlighted, especially in that last game, and obviously they end up winning in overtime. But faceoffs are so important, especially in those big moments. Goes without saying, and even I'm thinking in the 3-on-3 scenario when the Czechs win the opening draw in the overtime. I'm like, well, there you go. There's a minute of possession probably in the Czechs' favor. So it's funny in a way that it's the guy who didn't play in the last few games who's relied on to go out there and win snap a drawback, and that's exactly what he did. And it plays out either two ways. Either Finland wins that draw clean and you get a shot off and hope that you can get a save or a block shot, or you either win it cleanly or just try and tie your guy up and run out what's left. And he did the easier option.
Yeah, just ripped it right back. I thought that was awesome. And on faceoffs too, I didn't see what it finished at after the third, but I noted it. I wrote it down in my notes. After two, Canada had won 15 of 36 faceoffs. Not good numbers tonight. I don't know why they were getting cleaned out, but
no, not good enough.
I guess not having Sid doesn't help, but yeah. Last thing I wanted to add, just kind of generally, and I know it's the maybe one of the most obvious things ever, but I thought Cale Makar was just fantastic again tonight. Just slowing the play down always takes an extra second and does it in a way where he's not exposing the puck. He's using his body and just putting the puck in a proper spot so that he can make a breakout pass, finding a way to sift pucks through onto the net too. And obviously, the Reinhart goal comes because he keeps it in and takes a shot on net. So Cale Makar, I just thought he was incredible once again, and he's been great every single game.
Yep, not much more to add on that. He's amazing, and I would tell him to get ready to play 30 minutes on Sunday.
Yeah, seriously. Okay, anything else to add before we grit our teeth for the Sunday morning game?
See you bright and early, and go Canada.
Go Canada.
That's all.
All right, good stuff, John. Thanks for joining, and thanks everybody for listening to episode 271 of the Boys in the Booth podcast. We will be back to you Sunday night to talk about the gold medal game between Team Canada and Team USA. Stay tuned. Talk to you then.